Good morning, everybody. I'm Jared Jackson, also known as the Phoenix King, and with me, as always, is Jesse Daniels.
Also known as the mighty Satan fish.
And today it's going to be a lot more kind of relaxed than it has been. I mean, we've been really formal, well, as formal as we could possibly be, but now we got our A for the course, and we're just continuing this because we love it.
Yeah, we came to really enjoy this podcast.
I'll tell you what, man, the world's gone crazy.
Oh, yeah, yes, it has.
Get that? And this is a segue into a little issue we like to call net neutrality. But, I mean, those of you that don't know, I just pulled up the actual definition. The principle that, gosh, I'm sorry, I'm getting
It's
ahead
the
of myself.
principle that internet service providers should enable access to all content and applications, regardless of the source, and without favoring or blocking particular products or websites. Basically, what that means is that internet service providers, that's Windstream, Comcast, Charter, they have to provide the same strength of internet service to all websites. They can't slow down particular websites. Say, like Charter has their on demand, and then if Netflix was in competition with that, Charter couldn't slow down the Netflix service and then speed up their own service, making it difficult for you to enjoy your Netflix films.
Well, on their particular thing. And, I mean, it boils down to the fact that, it's it's this whole principle of them wanting to be able to kind of monopolize the internet, which, I mean, whatever. Um, the problem basically boils down to, is it ethically correct? And it's not, because they're taking advantage of their power to make more money. And inherently, capitalism's all about that. If you have the means and the way
And the will.
and the will to do it, but it boils down to the fact that when it comes to providing a service, you don't need to corner it to your needs. You should be able to do it for the consumer. Now, I'm all for big business. I'm all for free range, and so saying like releasing the animalistic tendencies of the economy.
And while I'm on the left, and typically leftists tend to look disfavorably upon big business, I actually have no problem with large companies, to be honest. I think that taking a company to its natural extinction is a great thing, but you gotta have some restrictions just to protect the workers. That's my thing, is I believe in protecting the workers.
I'm all about protecting the workers, but I mean, it's getting out of hand. Like when I first heard about the whole net neutrality thing,
Well, what's really crazy
ticked
about it
me
is
off.
that these companies are already the only people who provide the internet. Once the internet became such a big commercial thing, once computers got out there and websites started being a big thing, and saw the major cable companies, they're the ones, they got Congress to sign a bill stating that they would be the only ones who could provide internet access. And they also got Congress to sign a bill dividing up territories, saying that no new companies could open up in another company's territory. Kind of like how it is with auto dealers. You can't open a car lot in another car lot's territory. Uh, and a lot of these at the time that was fine because a lot of these companies there were hundreds of thousands of them across the country. But over time, the smaller ones have been swallowed up by larger businesses. So we're left with like, I don't know, like three major companies.
This is a lot like the resource industry back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And eventually, the way the world works is, old powers they'll go out and new ones will take over, and it'll eventually even itself out.
Yeah, it's like we talked about 2 episodes ago with automation. You know, it used to be that major companies could uh, they had lots of people working for them, and that made them wealthy, that made them powerful. But as time has gone on, as we move forward, new technologies come available, and the old powers that be kind of fade out. It's especially well seen in, we talked about coal and we talked about uh, oil, but you see that kind of uh, automation uh, everywhere. But it's important to note, as far as the net neutrality issue is concerned, that it's very important that the internet still it stay free for everybody. And already you've got the issue of companies selling your information. Facebook uh, makes a lot of profit by providing advertisers with access to things that are posted and whatnot. But you gotta understand that that's something that we we live with. Basically, what they're trying to do now is take away all the freedom that we enjoy. You know, uh, internet providers will be able to block certain websites that they don't approve of. And
And that's honestly like the internet was the true kind of not, I wouldn't say divider, but it was the fear like equalizer. That's the word
yeah,
I'm looking for.
equalizer.
It's this open source thing, and the creators were very, very careful to make sure that it couldn't be monopolized, or yeah, monopolized. And for up until this point, it's been pretty like
No, and
they
you
did a
gotta.
good job. But here's the point that I'm trying to get at: it's it's getting to a place that like same thing with the resource like coal, oil. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, when I said the early 18 or the early 1900s, the late 1800s, you had big business monopolizing things and skyrocketing the prices. And I'm not anti big business. I've been an outspoken conservative on this. My problem is when you make it inconvenient for the average person. That's what I loved about the internet. Like take Esty for example. Esty is a app and website that allows people to create their own product, market it out, and you know do that. In fact, one of my buddies bought a uh, bought a phone case for his iPhone off of Etsy, and it was like an Overwatch. So this person actually made these wooden iPhone 6 cases. Like did her own his or her. I don't know if it was a man or a woman. Whoever it was, they burnt the image like a minimalist image into it themselves, marketed it out, and sold it. And take like take eBay for example too. That's another place where people have been able to use like the open market. Um,
It allows the internet has really allowed people to go from being solely consumers with only a small percentage of us being creators or sellers, and really opened up the world of entrepreneurship to everybody. And it's not just that. I mean, the world of music has been opened up. A lot of talent gets discovered on YouTube.
radio is one of the big things. Like, take this: we're doing a podcast. 20 years ago, you couldn't do this. You have to go through like channels, actually go through an actual radio station.
And you'd have to be vetted, and they want you to talk about the issues that they wanted you to talk about, and really, a service like YouTube has created freedom. So when we talk about net neutrality and about providers slowing down services, if a provider were to create a service that was kind of like YouTube, they might slow YouTube's speed down, making it almost impossible for you to upload. It already takes so long to upload anything. especially like the large files that we have for our podcast, because our episodes are usually about an hour long, and that can take upwards of 30-40 minutes as it is to upload it. And if the service providers were to slow down the website for YouTube, I mean, we couldn't do the show the same way we have been. We'd have to find a new outlet for it because it would be almost impossible to upload such a large file.
Yeah, I mean, I I'm not I'm anti-monopoly because usually 9 times out of 10 they take the products they're monopolizing and skyrocket for a better thing or a better profit. I want to apologize. I'm running like really slow today. Like my brain's not working, so I may sound a little rambly, but I'm gonna try to like focus up as much as I can and do this. But I mean, people just in general, like the way the business works here in America, our mission is to make enough money to where we can live comfortably and or make an astronomically huge amount of money.
Oh yeah, in a lot of cases, the bigger the profit, the better the business feels, and I mean, that's a good business model. It's important that a business makes a profit, but when you get to the point where you're making billions of dollars, you stop looking at people as people and start looking at them as statistics and as profit margins, and that can really that can really pull you away from doing things that would otherwise be considered uh, good. Like again, this net neutrality issue. If the Title II restrictions are overturned and the companies get to decide that they want to do it however they want to do it, I mean that's an issue for us, but it'll be a
Well,
huge profit margin for the businesses.
everyone talks about like the small man, the big business is gonna get like a super slap to it too.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have to pay all kinds of like,
Fees, it'll cut into their profit. Ultimately, just making
hey, it's gonna be worse for everybody except the internet providers.
yeah,
You got like
you know what?
Verizon and AT&T. Their prices are gonna go up. They're gonna get more for their buck. They might slow down service in the area to uh, AT&T phone. You're talking about net neutrality. You're not just talking about the internet either. You're also talking about what they'll be able to get away with their phone providing,
Well,
with their phone services.
I mean, it's gonna like hurt everyone because if net neutrality doesn't stay a thing, if it doesn't stay the entity that it is now, it will completely hurt everyone but them, like Jesse said. And what people aren't realizing is that like your Netflix, that's gonna that could potentially bankrupt them.
Oh yeah,
Um,
HBO.
HBO get hit. It means no more Games of Thrones. Um,
Think about it. Season 7 just started. First episode hit last night. Imagine a world where that's the only episode you get to see.
I mean, it this has huge ramifications for everyone. Now, granted, it could be you could conceive it a little bit more like the conspiracy theory thing, like, oh, the sky's about to fall. Like it could be a slight overreaction, but you have to think of it in that way because, in my experience, if there's an open door, usually people take it.
It's like we talked about earlier, when we were discussing with Robert on our first episode what freedoms we would be willing to give up. You have to think about it in not only about how it's going to affect you personally, but how it's going to affect people down the line. In 20 or 30 years, what's the internet going to be like if it's completely controlled by the cable companies, if it's completely controlled by internet service providers? It's not going to be the same entity that we see now. There's not going to be the same amount of creativity and freedom. You look at it that way, and it's very possible that in 20 or 30 years, the internet could be an Orwellian entity where every single thing you do online is completely controlled by an overbearing big brother like entity, and you guys couldn't see that, but I did air quotes, and I realized how crazy that is on a podcast where you can't see me. About that, interestingly enough, we're thinking about maybe getting a camera.
A live recording.
Yeah,
of the
doing
show.
some actual video. So at in some point in the future, you might be able to see our very very sexy mugs.
I'm gonna wear a mask. I want my identity to be a secret.
uh,
No, I mean, and that's always like, I understand why some people do that, and that's always been cool to me. But no, you'll see my beautiful face.
also, as a side note, Project Overload now has a website and an app that are going to be made available to our fans.
Pretty soon, we're still like doing a little bit of like working on it and tuning it up, just getting a little bit more information on there.
But once it's ready, we'll have links available on the Project Overload Facebook page and on the Project Overload Twitter page. Like and follow.
Yeah, I mean, like, just in closing on this whole net neutrality thing, we want to stress that email, call your representative, your congressional representative. Just get the word out. We'll try to put some links up on the Facebook page. I mean, let your voice be heard, because if you're thinking like, oh, you know what, maybe one day I want to start a business where I market teddy bears to kids. It could be harder. This is going to affect everyone except for like the top execs of the network providers. I mean, like I saw yesterday, because we have DirecTV in my house, and I saw yesterday that like AT&T cares about net neutrality, and I said the only reason, or the first thought that really hit my head was the only reason they're putting that out is because they must be having a horrible public relations thing now. Because I mean, if they could get away with it, you know for a fact they would. Anyone would that you were in that position. I shouldn't say anyone, but most people would. I wouldn't, because I see the greater good. I mean, take us for example. We had this idea about 3 months before we started recording the first episode, and we saw an opening when our program chair Mark of the ETMX, which means the Emerging Technologies Department here at the great school Athens Tech, he gave us the opportunity. We took it and ran with it. I mean, it's just us. Like, we're doing a small time podcast right now, which we hope to grow into its own business and its own entity and branch this out to many other things. It could become very, very difficult for us. And if you're like, you watch YouTube a lot, it's going to be harder for the creators. It's ultimately just an insanely one-sided thing.
Oh yeah, normal people are going to be out of it very hard, and we're all going to end up paying for it. Net neutrality is important for many reasons. It's not important just for the reason of YouTubers. It's not important just because of how we view everything. It's not important just because of how much money it's going to cost everyone for their services at this point. Net neutrality is a very sensitive issue. It's a very important issue, and it's something that you definitely need to talk to your congressman about. I actually, if you don't know who your senator is or who the member of Congress is for your district, you can just call the switchboard. That's 202-224-3121, and they can connect you with your congressman. That's 202-224-3121. So it's not just our opinions on this. Your voice is important as well. So make sure that you go ahead and you make that phone call, and you talk to your congressman and get online and research the issue. Actually, I think that the vote, if it hasn't come up already, it's coming up very soon. I can let's.
Yeah.
Let's
Just
look that up real quick.
let's
Um,
let your voice be heard, people. Because I mean, in a certain way, I do look at this somewhat selfishly. I want this to be easy for us to do, but I mean, this affects everyone. I mean, this is gonna either help or hurt everyone depending on how this vote goes, and they need to keep. They just need to make a law to where net neutrality here in the U.S. is permanent. Just permanently do it. Don't change it because I mean it's very difficult for us to like do this if bad things happen. And like if this law doesn't pass the way that we need it to, it's going to be difficult for everyone.
we're gonna see a lot of changes, and that not all going to be bad, but very few of them are going to be in any way beneficial for anybody, except for the cable companies, the service providers, uh, big businesses. In that sense, uh, again, a lot of businesses can be hurt by this as well, and your information will become readily available as well. So, uh, again, we urge you to make your voice heard. And I think that's all we're going to talk about on the issue of net neutrality for right now. If you want to say anything about it, leave a comment. I know we're a little late on the net neutrality train. We hadn't had a chance to really talk about our opinions on it beforehand, due to the nature of our schoolwork. So if you have any opinions, if you have any information, go ahead and leave us a comment. Give us a like, uh, and share with your friends. Don't just share our podcast. Share the information with your friends. Tell your friends about what's going on. And make your voice heard, make their voice heard, and let's spread the word, get the word out there.
Alright. And in other news, I saw Baby Driver yesterday, and oh my goodness, people go see this movie. Go see Spider-Man: Homecoming, and definitely go see Baby Driver because oh, it's great.
Little known fact: Spider-Man: Homecoming is actually based on a true story. Yeah, yeah. Uh, that's a joke. It's not based on a true story. Don't believe that. But no. Great reviews coming out for those films, and of course, that's to be expected with the Marvel Cinematic Universe these days. It's
It's gotten kind of annoying to me a little bit because like they've basically just become 2 hour trailers for the next movie. Homecoming is not as bad. Like Civil War was pretty bad about that.
Well, Civil War was setting up the changeover because we're not going to be seeing the same characters anymore. We're going to be seeing a lot of different characters now.
I hope that
Infinity, what is it? So it's Infinity Wars is coming up very soon. That's going to be really good. That's an Avengers. That's a 3-part Avengers.
That was only 2.
Is it just 2? I thought it was 3.
I mean, they could run if they do it correctly. They could run it 3 parts, but
Oh yeah, we're getting Black Panther.
I can't wait for.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a great film. So we're getting Black Panther. We're getting Thor Ragnarok. Comes out this year, if it hasn't already hit.
It comes out later this year. I'm not exactly sure when.
I think that's going to be our last Thor movie, but it's supposed to be a good one.
That's fine by me. I'm not a big Thor guy.
I like Thor, but that's mostly because I enjoy mythology. And while they hit on the mythology kind of okay, they miss it up in a lot of very important ways. For example, in the actual Norse belief system, the Norse mythology, Thor and Loki are not brothers. Odin and Loki are blood brothers. They made a pact as friends. So there's an issue where it's strange. Loki is the child of a giant, though, so they hit that pretty well in the comics. We're gonna get another Doctor Strange film. That's gonna be good.
Yeah, he's also going to be making apparently huge part in the next Thor movie, and that's fine
You
because
know,
anything that gets
I
I
saw
love
that at
Chris
the
Hemsworth.
end. I saw that at the end, but I haven't seen him in the
Trailers.
trailers for Ragnarok.
I've read a bunch of articles on it. Apparently, he's a pretty big part of this upcoming uh, movie.
Well, I'm fine with that. I love Doctor Strange. Benedict Cumberbatch is excellently portraying Stephen Strange.
He's the only one that like when I heard the rumors like they have to put Benedict Cumberbatch because
Oh yeah,
Corbin,
he's the only person who could have done it.
he looks like it
Oh
in
yeah,
the comics. Like he has like,
he really does have that
and it was when I started watching
quality.
Sherlock, I was like, yeah, he totally can.
Oh, Sherlock is wonderful. Talking about British television, I don't know if you're a Doctor Who fan.
Oh boy,
Have you heard? Have you
boy.
heard?
Oh boy,
Oh.
I saw the trailer. So if you
first,
don't know what we're
female
talking
Doctor
about,
Who.
we have the first female Doctor Who, and I was so worried. I was so worried they were going to cast someone.
But they always do.
Boy, did they hit that right? That
oh my God, they
perfect.
did. She's
Ooh.
wonderful.
Oh my God.
It's going to be great, I think.
My only issue is like I don't want a female James Bond, and it's only because James Bond has always been this misogynistic thing. Let's keep him that way.
as far as I know, it's going to be Idris Elba.
That's fine.
So that's a good first step as well.
That's fine. And my dad's like, oh, but he's always been white. It's like I'm fine with them switching race on him.
You know what I think would be really interesting? Not necessarily a female James Bond, but maybe a Moneypenny film.
Fuck yeah, that's the way you do it. Like, there's a lot of history, and I'm not trying to be sexist or anything. I was one of the first components to say that hey, we need a female movie. I didn't want it to be Wonder Woman. I wanted a Black Canary movie because that means
Black Canary would be good, but I don't think that she's strong enough for film. Her comics are pretty obscure, and it's really inextricably linked to the Green Arrow.
Made good as long as you got a good writing staff and good acting.
And the problem is that we have such a prevalent Green Arrow right now. With
no, he's not Green Arrow. He's Green Batman. That I will not accept Green Arrow. Green Arrow is spunky. He's emotionally disturbed, but he makes jokes to cover it up.
That's true. He's a really good Oliver Queen, though.
He's a great Oliver Queen.
Yeah, he is.
He's a great Green Arrow. That's just not the Green Arrow that I wanted.
You know, he's 1980s Green Arrow. That was a little more serious and had to deal with the fact that Speedy was doing heroin.
Yeah, I love that cover. My ward is doing a heroin.
Yep.
Gas.
That was also when Oliver Queen lost all his money.
Yeah.
You know how he got his money back in the comics? A dying old woman left him her fortune so that he could figure out who murdered her. That's how he got his money back.
Oh, boy.
I actually have those comics.
Sweet.
They're pretty good.
I haven't like my kind of starting love with Green Arrow was around the 1990s. That's when I really got into him, when they kind of were able to blend his sort of campiness with the seriousness.
You know, I didn't really like Green Arrow up until Justice League Unlimited came out.
Well, I always loved it. I've always been like,
so for me it was the early 2000s, and I got really into the character, and I wanted to know more about him. So I started reading the comics from before. You know, I'd go online and read, or I'd find the comics in stores.
With that.
Oh, the Robin Hood hat.
Damn hat! I hate that hat.
My favorite of his arrows though is the punching glove arrow.
Oh yeah, that's
the boxing glove arrow. I love it.
Boxing glove arrow is the best.
Boxing glove arrows is his best arrow.
You know, they did. I don't know if anyone listening remembers this show, but there was a show that they did called Young Justice.
Oh, great show.
That's one of my favorite like Red Arrow designs, and definitely one of my favorite Green Arrow.
The Batman though, it was the wrong Batman.
They did the New 52 style, which is fine by me.
Well, no, I mean the actor was wrong. They had an opportunity to go and get the original.
Well, I think was it Jason O'Mara that did that?
I think so, yeah.
I love Jason O'Mara.
Don't get me wrong.
Jason O'Mara is perfect for that. I'm gonna look this up.
It's just that you like you said before. There's only one Batman for us as millennials growing up.
Well, there's just one Batman. Period.
That's true.
His name
and his name is John Cena. I'm sorry.
No,
That's dated.
Poorly.
That's
Poor
dated.
joke.
That's really badly dated at this point. Anyway, that meme is so. Actually, there's a really funny
It was
story.
Bruce Greenwood?
Wow.
What? No, hold on. Let me double check this. Because if that's the case,
Check.
I'm still.
Check Snopes.
It's time to go to
IMDb.
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 It was Bruce Greenwood. Oh my god. I'm fine with that because he voiced Batman in Under the Red Hood, my favorite of the animated movies.
I'm telling you right now
There's only one Batman.
that there's only one Red Hood.
Jensen Ackles.
And if they ever do a Red Hood film, Jensen Ackles should play him.
Ooh.
Jensen, you will never hear this. You will never hear this podcast.
Jensen
I am
Ackles
telling you right now,
Batfleck. Ooh, boy.
Get that film made. Get that film made. Only you can do it.
Oh my god. Are you kidding me? That would make me so happy.
Yeah, I'm saying, dude.
Like, I don't know.
Pull in Jared Padalecki for something. I don't care what. Give him one job. Who cares? Make him the Scarecrow. That would be hilarious.
Just as much as I love him, I don't want him to be.
No, he would. Well,
he could pull it off.
He could do it. He has the chops for it. He has the style of acting down pat from playing Sam, because Nightwing is this kind of angsty, broody guy with a little bit of snark.
He's more snarky, and I don't think he can do that.
You know what? Actually, I think that he's got it in him. I think that he's got it in him.
Every Supernatural fan with that.
I don't know. A lot of people probably don't want to see Jared Padalecki as Nightwing. I would not mind seeing him as a Dick Grayson type. Here's a funny thing about Jared Padalecki. Did you know that he was in the remake of Friday the 13th?
Ooh,
that's ridiculous. You think Friday the 13th and you think hockey masks and bloodshed and murder, but you don't really think Jared Padalecki.
You know what? Taron Egerton, the dude who played Eggsy in Kingsman.
Oh, that guy is great. Oh, the new Kingsman movie is going to hit soon.
Yeah, Golden Circle, baby.
That's going to be awesome.
I'm looking at a website. It's comicbookmovies.com, and they've got 6 actors who can play Nightwing. Stephen Ewan, Glenn. I would see it, but
yeah,
I don't know about that one. It's not because he's Asian. It's just Stephen. He could do it. Andrew Garfield, nope.
I'm trying to think of who could.
As much as I love Garfield, nope.
I'm trying to think of who could do Nightwing.
John Boyega, no. I don't give a crap if they change his race. That's fine by me.
Affleck could have pulled off a pretty good Nightwing, but he's too old now.
Fuck yeah, Adam Driver.
Oh yeah.
Fucking Adam Driver.
Adam Driver would be great as Nightwing.
Why the fuck would Dev Patel ever want to play Nightwing?
I'm sure they didn't say actors who could play him that would want to.
Well, I mean, like, Dev Patel, I love Dev Patel. Dev Patel's amazing, but no. World's not ready for Dev Patel to play Nightwing.
Talking about weird movies that people were in, Jensen Ackles was in a movie where he was the son of the devil. I don't remember what that movie was called, but I remember that he was in a movie where he was the son of Satan. Rosemary's Baby.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that movie.
The Omen Child. I don't remember what it was called. It was none of those movies.
Let's see what
those movies all came out before Jensen Ackles was even born.
Dylan O'Brien.
Dylan O'Brien would be good.
Dylan O'Brien's my fan cast. Or Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He didn't get his chance.
I think he's a little old to be playing Nightwing right now.
He didn't get his chance. Play Nightwing. He never got a chance. It makes me mad.
Good Nightwing. Who is my choice for Nightwing?
And we're taking time to do this because this is important to me and Jesse.
Well, I mean, Project Overload is at its core
Being nerdy.
just a couple of nerds nerding out while being nerdy.
Just being nerds, nerding out. Joseph Gordon-Levitt would be fine. Louis Tan, I'm fine with. Oh, dude. Okay. No, Jake Gyllenhaal would not be good. I'm looking at the list.
Yeah.
No. Ooh, Richard Madden. He'd be good.
Yeah.
He'd make a. He's the only other person that I could see playing Red Hood because he did a really, really good job as Winter Soldier.
You mean other than
Yeah, other than Jensen. Remy Malek.
Weirdly enough, you know who I think would be a good Nightwing?
Who?
Tom Welling.
Well.
He's not too old. He's actually the right age to play Nightwing.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different Tom.
He's the guy from Smallville.
Oh, yes. I was thinking of Tom Cavanaugh.
Yeah. Yeah,
Tom Welling would be perfect.
Tom Welling would be a great Nightwing.
He's got like the. That's who I want. If
Yeah.
I can't get Dylan O'Brien, give me Tom. Dylan O'Brien would make a really good kind of adulty Tim Drake.
Tim Drake, that's
the third.
Red Robin.
Or the third.
Yeah, because the current Robin is
He's the fifth.
It's
Damian.
Yeah, Damian Wayne.
I'm trying to think.
You got Dick Grayson.
Grayson, Todd, Drake, Stephanie Brown, the Forgotten Robin.
Yep, and then
and you have
Damian Wayne.
Damian Wayne.
Yep. And if you think about Batman Beyond, then the Robin there is
Tim Drake.
Yeah. No. Tim Drake's not the Robin in Batman Beyond.
Well, he didn't have a Robin. He had kind of like an Oracle character.
Yeah. Well, he had that friend, that girl. I don't remember.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
She considered herself Robin, but she really did portray more of an Oracle.
She
was tech savvy and
tech person.
Yeah, usually was on the other end of a computer.
Which is fun. Like if you watch Spider-Man, there's a whole little thing about that. You'll see when you see it, Jesse. It's so good.
Oh yeah. Zendaya plays Mary Jane on that movie,
No,
and from
it's not Mary Jane.
Isn't I thought it was Mary Jane.
It's not Mary Jane.
It's not Mary Jane.
Spoiler alert! I'm gonna give you guys like 15 seconds. I'm gonna drone on for 15 seconds, then I'll explain. So spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
I think this is a spoiler alert, guys.
I'm just making sure that like we cover it in case like someone listens to this and they don't know. Have you seen Spider-Man yet, Austin? You might want to cover your ears now because I'm about to like spoil it. Spoiler alert! I'll give you a thumbs up when I'm done. Austin's a dude who we have working with us. She's a Mary Jane-like character.
Yeah.
They don't call her Mary Jane. They call her Michelle Johnson. But at the end, she's like, "Hey, I'm MJ." So yeah, and you're good.
Actually,
my buddy was really angry about.
Yeah, because the leading up to this, there was all that controversy about Zendaya playing Mary Jane, and to feel that they capitulated to the ridiculousness that was.
I mean, it is kind of ridiculous that everyone was getting mad, but I understand where most of the arguments come from. And it wasn't from a racist place.
Yeah.
It was because
some of it.
Before I do this, disclaimer: I am all for certain characters' races being switched. I don't want Bruce Wayne ever to be black.
Well, it's just that that character has existed for so long. Yeah, exactly. No white
there
cyborg.
Can never be a white cyborg.
Yeah, no white cyborg.
And Firestorm being changed to black was the greatest thing because.
Well, I mean,
Jackson's 100% better.
I mean, there was a black Firestorm though.
No, I'm saying the second one was the black. He's the one I like. Ronnie Raymond.
I don't mind Wally West being changed to black.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I thought the changeover for the West family was great. Plus,
I mean, John Jones, like the Manhunter,
he changes races like every 5 minutes.
Yeah, and that's fine. My point is, like, I'm not coming at this from a racist or a bigoted standpoint.
To be honest though, I love Jesse L. Martin, and so
Oh,
him
yes.
playing Joe West
And you
is
know what? My only like anger is I don't like Iris, and it's just because I don't like the way they've written her. It's not the
it's
acting.
not even that actress's fault. She's a great actress.
No,
She does a wonderful job with
you
what
know
they
what?
give
With
her.
the shit pile they're giving her, she's doing a great
You
job.
know what the problem is that Iris West in the comics wasn't really focused on as much
She's not prominent, and they're trying to do that to
because and it hasn't got anything really to do um
her.
with her
One thing I point
character
out before we continue
itself.
with this.
The problem is that Wally West it was the Flash for just as long as Barry Allen was.
Yeah, he was also like a huge thing.
And Iris West isn't really a prominent figure in Wally West's mythos.
And or I mean, she's big in berries, but she's just a love interest.
Yeah.
But my point is the whole point of all of this was that I'm not coming at this from a bigoted or a racist standpoint. I'm fine with like switching the ethnicity of characters, both the big characters and the little ones. For some, Nick
Yeah.
Fury is the best damn thing they ever did.
Well, and I agree. I think the Nick Fury was a good changeover.
But my point is that like the Mary Jane, I'm gonna play devil's advocate on this argument. She's always been this sexy redhead, and that's for since her conception. She's always been Peter's first love, the sexy redhead.
She's not even his first love though,
No,
because the
technically it
first
was Gwen Stacy.
yeah Gwen Stacy was the first one, and
Which
she's
is
great.
yeah, she's awesome. Spider Gwen and Gwenpool are both my two favorite characters, or two of my favorites.
I think she was Black Cat also.
Yeah, so he has like plenty to draw from. My whole point is like my buddies like anger is like because they're not like paying respect to the character. His whole thing was he thought they were just doing it to be like PC.
You know, to be honest though, Mary Jane and Gwen Stacy, those are two characters that I actually wouldn't care if they were changed up.
Gwen Stacy, I'd be a little bit more angry about, but Mary Jane, I could care less.
You know, I really enjoyed Emma Stone's portrayal of Gwen Stacy.
She was awesome.
Oh man, she hit the nail right on the
Everyone
head.
got like mad about Shailene Woodley playing Mary Jane. I was fine with that.
Kristen Dunst did the worst job. She played Mary Jane way too
Kristen
passive.
Dunst did play Mary Jane. She just played a love interest.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm
and
not
she's
even gonna,
supposed
like,
to. She's
I love
supposed to have
Kristen
been
Dunst,
there.
by the way.
Kristen Dunst is a great actress.
I'm not going to give
They
any
played her.
validity to that shit movie.
They played her too passive. That's not how Mary Jane rolls. I mean, she's this like outspoken, fiery redhead who gets pissed off at the drop of a hat and will let you know how pissed off she is.
Yeah.
She kicks Spider-Man's ass on a regular basis. I mean, Peter Parker, but hey,
She's
come on.
amazing. I
Oh,
love Mary Jane.
She's a
But
tiger.
the thing is they've always done it a certain way, and I'm fine with change. But like and you know what they did it. I trust Kevin Feige, the head of the Marvel Cinematic Division. He hasn't let me down yet. He's done stuff that I thought really Feige, really. We're gonna go this route. Okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, which is what I went into, and they did it fine. Like they made her.
Oh, Zendaya is really good.
She does,
and
the
she if they had made
character, she does perfectly.
If they had made her Mary Jane, it would have worked out perfectly fine because she plays the character that way. And I haven't seen the film. I will admit that right now.
Go ahead and tell you.
But I've seen her. I've seen her in lots of previews and snippets of film that got spoiled. And from what I've seen, she hits the character dead on. I think Zendaya is a great actress. She got her start with Disney, as a lot of young actors and actresses do these days. I mean, you got like her, and then there's Bella Thorne, which is doing
something.
Yeah, she's doing films that are kind of obscure, and then a lot of people are seeing them. She's got one on Netflix right now where she plays some kind of bad girl.
Was it crazy? Like
you got Cole Sprouse. He didn't really get his start with Disney. Because he's the kid. He was Ross's son on Friends.
He also,
and I think he was the kid from Big Daddy.
Disney had some movies early.
Yeah.
Both of the Sprouse sons did.
Yeah, and of course now he's on Riverdale.
How have you watched Riverdale?
I watched the first season of it.
Was it good?
I kind of like it, but it's definitely a teen drama, kind of Twin Peaks, Dawson's Creek esque.
Okay.
But it's interesting on its own merit if you can get through a lot of the
Teen angst.
melodrama that is rampant in teen dramas. Uh, it hits on a lot of pretty good issues. I mean, weirdly enough, uh, I was aware of Archie comics and I knew who Veronica and who I think the name's Betty. I've already forgotten,
I think it is Betty.
but I knew who they were as such. Did not realize how much of my childhood was actually affected by Archie comics. I mean, I grew up with Boomerang. That was my big thing growing up. So a lot of Josie and the Pussycats and you'd see the Archies on Jabberjaw. I did not realize that Josie and the Pussycats were an Archie comics uh, that the Archie comics owned Josie and the Pussycats until I watched Riverdale
I kind of
because
like
they're
saw it
featured
because it's the
prominently.
same art style.
Yeah, they're featured prominently in the show. And what's crazy, we're talking about characters who have had their races switched. And Josie and the Pussycats had two white girls and a black girl. It's always been that way all the way up from the 60s. And in this, they changed them all. Now they're all African American, which I think worked out just fine actually. Uh, the actresses were great choices. They played it off. They played the parts extremely well. They meshed really well with the other actors, and so I think that was a good choice to change up the race there.
I'm fine to a certain extent as long as they're paying correct homage to the character.
Oh no, they play the characters exactly right. They have kind of the same things going on as the characters did in the original Josie's and the Pussycats, uh, with a few minor changes. I mean, Josie was always kind of this really sweet girl, and the girl that plays Josie is kind of very focused on her career path and her career choices. So she seems to come off a little harsher than Josie did originally. But I mean, that's kind of a good change, I think. Of damn, I don't remember her name now. She's the pianist. She's great. She's wonderful. She's played exactly the way she was supposed to be played. She's Archie's love interest for a short period of time, just like she was in the comics. Uh, the drummer, who's supposed to be this bubbly airhead, you don't get a lot of time with her, so she's not as prominently featured. But then again, in the comics, she wasn't as prominently featured either. All in all, I say it's a pretty good show. I think the second season's already out. The first season is on Netflix. Uh, check it out if you haven't. If you can get through the melodrama, it's actually a pretty good watch. It kind
Same
of.
thing as Arrow. You get the all that like
Oh yeah, same with
Mhm.
Arrow's really bad about the melodrama. A friend of mine complains that Supergirl is too campy. I like it. I like Supergirl. I like the camp.
I'm fine with camp as long as it's not Batman. Batman's always been brutish
Oh,
and like
well, I mean,
the '60s. I
we have to
forget
we have
the
to pay we
'60s
have to
even
pay
on.
homage to uh, Adam West, who was the campiest of the Batman.
I
Uh,
love Adam West, but good God, do I hate campy Batman.
well, and you really have to think about the time period, man.
I mean, yeah, I understand. Like, '60s all about like the beginning of the so-called hippie movement.
Well, and a lot of America was feeling really great about itself. We just come out of the Korean War. We kicked Hitler's ass. Came out of the Korean War doing all right. I mean, you did the best you can there,
But
and
then
we hadn't
Vietnam
quite we hadn't quite gotten into Vietnam yet. So we're in that when Batman came out, we're in that in between stage where America's feeling pretty good about itself.
and then Vietnam happened.
And after Vietnam hits, the camp goes down a lot. And the next time we see Batman is in 1989 with Tim Burton.
He's talking about specifically like the live action portrayals.
Yeah, yeah. And we see Batman in 1989 with Tim Burton, and it's a darker, grittier Batman. We came out of Vietnam feeling really shitty about ourselves. Desert Storm was going on. We were in the middle of the Cold War. There was a lot of corruption going on with businesses. Prices had skyrocketed everywhere for things like gas. We would just come out of one of our major gas crises, uh, and people were feeling kind of shitty and doing a lot of blow. And that's we got a darker, grittier Batman. And there's a correlation to what's going on in the world and how our superheroes are. Take our superheroes now. They're darker, they're broodier, they're angry. I mean, that is the superhero living in a post 9/11 world. America got hit really hard in 2001, and from then on, our heroes have been angry and broody and not like 2000s broody, not like Daredevil broody. We're talking Christian Bale Batman. We're talking
But
angry.
Batman's not really like a good example. Since his incarnation,
Okay,
up until the '60s, he's always been very angry.
Man of
Spider-Man,
Steel,
though.
Man of Steel, Superman.
Okay, I understand that. And then, during the '90s, post Doomsday, running his like spike arm through Superman's heart. Um,
He just wanted
Superman,
love.
even in the comics, like you see the New 52, he goes from being like campy ass to this dark character.
Oh yeah, I mean they have a
Which
whole
it's
storyline
really
where
like
he.
he was written really poorly because
Well,
I
I mean,
mean
prior to the night, what is it? Prior to the 1970s, 1980s,
it's the
he
from the
had the
80s.
he had the power to just make up whatever power he needed. Yeah, I mean, he was written OP, but the point of that was actually very important. He was a propaganda piece for fighting the Nazis.
Yeah,
Superman literally punches Hitler in the face on the cover of one of our comic books. And I mean,
he was written by the like two Jewish artists to show like the
Amer-
strength of America.
America was not going to fail to Hitler. Superman, who is the quintessential American hero,
Then you have Batman
cannot be beaten.
who would look that cool Luger-esque gun, shoot people.
Oh yeah, yeah. Batman used to be way darker than he is now. He used to have no problem with killing people.
That's why I like Batfleck.
Yeah.
Batfleck, like everyone's like, oh no, Batman doesn't kill. I slide him one of the first issues. You see him with a gun shooting a guy,
Oh yeah.
and they're
And
like,
and
what?
Batfleck
What?
Batfleck is a good example of where our country is right now. We're angry. ISIS is out there. They're coming to get us. We've got
There's and whether you agree with like the PC movement and or the SJW esque of the word, that's the wrong phrasing. The SJ like social justice warrior hint of the world. There's a lot of like rage, whether you agree with it or not.
oh yeah, everyone is angry right now, and they're angry about something. And a lot of the anger is very valid. I mean, there's very valid reasons to be angry.
And there's a lot.
We've got we've got ISIS, a terrorist organization running rampant,
Whose
and basically,
whole thing like, and we talked about this a couple months ago in our ethics class. They have been able to take something that's meant for good, social media, and build an entire army, and we're having to adapt and figure out a way to defeat them at our game. They came into our court and completely spiked the ball, so to say. And we're having to build campaigns to fight them.
and they're basically running the show in Iraq right now. And I mean, that's a strike not only at us but at the people of Iraq who were moving towards a democratic government where the people of Iraq were finally going to have a say in the way their government was run. I mean, they've had a really shit show of it.
Yeah,
From they had
pissing me off.
they have ISIS now. They had Saddam Hussein before that. And I mean, say what you will about Hussein, he kept order in the country, but at such a heavy cost. I mean, the people were so oppressed beneath
I,
his reign.
I can even draw like a good thing about Hitler. Hitler was an awful person. I hate Hitler. I love World War II era for a number of reasons. I'm a technologically like minded dude. I like to look at the trends of technology growing. I like to see
If it
even
had
through evil, like good. If it wasn't for Hitler, we wouldn't have the space program.
We wouldn't have computers. The first computer was
Say what
designed
you
to
want, Hitler
crack.
wasn't all bad.
The first computer was designed to crack Nazi code.
I'm sorry, that was an awful joke.
It's all right.
If you'll see slowly the cracks start to go. Me and Jesse have very dark sense of humor.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's why I like the Punishers, because it takes to really enjoy the Punisher, it takes a little bit of a mess up.
Oh yeah. Well, and so that's what we see with the world today. I mean, there's anger everywhere. There's anger at the way
I mean,
that LGBTQ community has been treated. There's anger with the African American community. There's anger with the police. There's anger with the military. There's anger with the world at large. You got the UK pulling out of the EU after being in it for 40 years and being inextricably linked to everything. I mean, the trade agreements alone that they're going to have to renegotiate about ridiculous things like cheese and goat's milk and tops and pens.
Yeah, whether you agree with the whole Brexit situation or not, there's good and bad to both sides. I mean, and Jesse's right. If you look at comics, were a very, very clear indication on where your country was. Look at the 1980s when the Punisher started to come out. It was the 80s. For some, were a very dark time.
Oh, it was the beginning of the war on drugs.
It was
not really the beginning, since Nixon really started the war on drugs.
Yeah.
But I mean, you talk about the war on drugs under Nixon, and you're looking at mostly marijuana. That's what they were going after.
The 80s roll around and cocaine becomes a thing. And then we get
marijuana, cocaine.
El Chapo starts to show his head.
Methamphetamines are starting to pick up towards the end of the 80s. So you got crystal meth, angel dust. You're seeing the beginnings of heroin, which becomes a big party drug in the 90s. Towards the end of the 60s and the 70s, you got ecstasy coming out and becoming a party drug. So by the time the 80s rolled around, it was in every club.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I bring up the Punisher for a number of reasons, but one of the biggest is you see crime start to skyrocket, and then you have one individual creates the quintessential anti-Batman character. Training, but has absolutely no problem with going graphic.
It's the guy that will do anything to stop what's going on in the world, and the ends justify the means.
Yeah, I mean
that's where we were in the 80s. The ends justified the means.
Exactly, and just on the Punisher, just an example of what type of character he is. His family is murdered by mobsters, and depending on which depiction of his origin you're talking about.
And Frank Castle has 3. I think at one point he actually kills an angel as his origin.
I like the Daredevil versus Punisher.
The Netflix series, very good, very well done. Frank Castle.
Like Deadpool versus Punisher.
Oh yeah, no, that's great too.
Comic thing, it's really funny. But on Punisher Max, which is arguably if you talk to hardcore Punisher fans, that is the quintessential thing. For Batman fans, it's either the Killing Joke or the Dark Knight Rises.
Killing Joke.
Or the Dark Knight Returns. Dark Knight Returns is mine.
I think the Killing Joke is the biggest one. It's the biggest story.
It's always a toss-up, though. It depends on who you talk to.
If you really want to talk about something that's crazy with Batman, you talk about the story about the Joker murdering Tim Drake.
Yeah.
That is a big part for Batman for Batman fans, and it's big because it was such a graphic cartoon. And I mean, it's
you talk about
in the comic books, it's Jason Todd that bites the dust, not.
Yeah. With Jason Todd, that's a whole different thing. I'll talk about that in a second. But for Punisher Max, that is Punisher at his best.
Oh yeah.
And just one example, there's a dude that digs up Frank Castle's family and pisses on their corpse. And just to show what type of character Frank is, the dude's calling him out. He's like, "Bring it on, Punisher." So what does Frank do? Frank knocks him out, cuts open his stomach, uses his intestines, ties him around a tree. The guy's like, "What are you gonna do now, Frank?" "I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna let you sit here and bleed. You're no better. You're no better than any of the other animals I have to put down
Yeah.
throughout my week." Just he's crazy. He's crazy, and it takes a twisted person. Well, not really twisted, but like
Someone who can appreciate the
someone who
macabre.
can appreciate. I mean, I don't like a lot of what he does, but I think to a certain extent, it's entertaining. You know, the idea of a character who's not willing, or who's willing
To do whatever.
to cross the line that most don't,
He,
and to do
he's
it in such a graphic way.
he is one of the best anti-heroes.
He is. But on the whole Jason Todd thing, what's really funny to me is they put like on the episode, or not the episode, but on the issue, right?
It was to a vote. They put it to a
It was
vote.
like a small margin, but a lot of people hated him. I love Jason Todd. He was snarky. He was a dick, and he gave me.
And he kept a lot of those qualities when he became the Red Hood.
Yeah, I love it. I was about to say like the best thing that ever happened is Jason Todd biting the dust.
He gave us the Red Hood.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important to note that had Tim Drake been the one to die, the Red Hood would not have been as interesting of a character.
No, it had to be Jason Todd.
Yeah.
I think, I don't think they had that much foresight because it was a good 20-something odd years after his death in like the mid 80s. And, 2000, I think it was like 2003 or so, rolls around. They're like, hey, let's revive him as someone who can perfectly match Batman.
I thought the movie was great under the Red
The
Hood.
movie was great. The comics are even better because the
Yeah.
comics,
I like the quote, the Batman quote: "If you kill a murderer, the number of murderers has stayed the same."
and
And then
Punisher is just like, so I just killed them all.
yeah, and Jason Todd responds with, "Well, what if I kill 99 of them?" And then the Punisher is like, "Well, I'm gonna kill all of them."
Yeah, but I mean, God, and the Tim Drake thing he's talking about is the Batman Beyond movie, The Return of the Joker.
Oh yeah, and the first 30 minutes of it are super disturbing. You got
Really
Mark
disturbing?
Hamill as the Joker and Kevin
Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy as Batman, reprising their roles. And it's really a return to the original 1992
Batman series. You got
designs.
Hamill, yeah, and you got like Hamill going up against Terry McGinnis, going up against Kevin Conroy again.
And then they bring in Terry McGinnis for the last
it's
like 40 minutes.
hands down probably in my top 3 favorite animated of all
Well,
time.
and the part of it that's really something to talk about is there's this 10-minute segment where he's talking about torturing Tim Drake, and it just kind of shows
that scene where like Tim falls into Barbara's arms crying still haunts me to this day. Every once in a while when I'm like, I really get like the itch, I'm like, I want to see this.
Yep.
I do, and every time I instantly regret it, it's like, oh my god, this is messed up.
In the version that got edited for TV in America, the Joker gets electrocuted. But in the original version, Tim Drake shoots him through the heart with his gun that says bang.
Yeah.
So the Joker like dies with a flag planted in his heart that says bang.
That's great. I saw both versions.
And I mean, Tim Drake at this point is like 10.
Yeah.
So the Joker has literally sat there and tortured a 10-year-old boy into madness.
That's what I love. I love how everyone's like, I want to love like Harley and Joker. You want to do that? Read the standalone Joker comic and then tell me that. Because in it, he brutally rapes and murders a woman in an alleyway.
The Joker's not a hero in any sense of the word.
And that's my main problem with the whole idea of the Suicide Squad is the Joker could give 2 craps about Harley.
Mm-mm.
He brutally beats her. That's why it took years for Harley to escape that abusive relationship.
And I mean, she finds a better one with
Floyd.
Yeah, and she has a really healthy friendship with Poison Ivy.
The
Uh,
standalone like Harley comics are great.
yeah,
Harley Quinn's a fun character.
Harley Quinn, once she's out from under the yoke of the Joker, becomes a really good anti-hero.
Even when she was under the yoke, she was still a very compelling character.
Oh yeah, I mean
But
she
she
was
like
created originally for the animated series, and she's such a popular character. Not only did she make it into the comics, she got her own standalone
you want to know the
comics.
whole history of that and know a little bit more what we're talking about. Listen to the Fat Man on Batman. It's a Kevin Smith made podcast. One of my favorites. One of the first episodes is with a dude named Paul Dini, who hands down is one of my heroes of writing. Paul Dini, what him and Bruce Timm were able to do with the Batman show, which led to the Justice League show, which led to like the Superman show, then the Justice League, then Justice League Unlimited, is amazing. I absolutely love what Paul Dini has done writing wise. He's given the fans some of the best storylines. You know, you have the Joker, you have Mr. Freeze. Like that was what made me really change my mind about Freeze. You know, like when they wrote the Mr. Freeze episode, you see him. He's just doing this to save his wife, and they write him in such a compelling way to where like you feel bad for him.
Oh yeah, Victor Freeze has always been kind of a sympathetic villain, but I mean he's never really been anything but. You don't really see Victor Freeze that much in the Batman universe. I
No,
mean, you definitely don't see him with anybody else. He's never really across comic platform
we've
villain.
seen him like a little bit with the Legion of Doom, but he's always kind of like a little side thing they throw away,
Yeah.
which is really bad because he has so much potential. You know,
Oh yeah. And
Clayface joining Team Batman, that's really cool.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, well, and to be honest, Clayface was on Team Batman to begin with before he became Clayface.
Yeah, and then he becomes Clayface and loses his mind.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
like his whole like, oh dude, I need to be like redemption.
he's a very lizard-esque character.
Yeah,
In that the monster within took over.
depending on what iteration of Kurt Langstrom, Man Bat's the same way.
Oh yeah.
That's like I like that.
My favorite Man Bat though is the one where he's a uh, disenfranchised former Wayne Tech employee.
From the Batman animated show.
Yeah.
That art style, like some of my friends that like it. I didn't like Jamaican Joker. And if you don't know what I'm talking about,
Oh yeah.
just look it up.
I
love
thought he was
Michelson though.
yeah I thought he was funny. I thought he was funny
He
as
was
heck.
great. Just the design. Up in like when they give him the suit like in season 3, I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, you got me now.
Yeah.
But before then,
When he's just running around in the stupid long sleeve thing barefoot.
oh, I got a straight jacket that I repainted.
Yeah.
But good God, ooh, Firefly in that. Oh,
Oh yeah.
so good, so good.
Oh, you know who's been a really interesting character? Killer Frost, Caitlin Snow on The Flash. That's been very interesting.
I think they're gonna make her ice. I think
That's what I thought.
that,
I thought she was going to be Ice. The next time we see her is going to be with a Brazilian chick named Fire. I swear to God.
that she has a thing for fire, like fire and ice.
Yeah, Fire and Ice. That's the team. I think Caitlin Snow is going to become Ice.
Oh God, yeah, she's definitely like.
You know, they kind of set it up too because if you remember when Barry was running through the Speed Force, he saw Caitlin as Killer Frost, and we all knew it was Killer Frost because we all knew Caitlin Snow was going to be Killer Frost. But if you look really closely at the costume she's wearing in the Speed Force, that is not Killer Frost's costume. That is Ice's costume.
I think that's their whole plan. They're
Yeah.
like, season 2 just it drug on and on. I felt that same way with season 3. Like, it was like, oh, Salazar, stupid. I called that so early on. I was like,
Oh, I mean, everybody knew. Everybody knew.
just give me.
That's why Barry left the message on Legends of Tomorrow about not trusting him.
They can rewrite Eobard Thawne. I mean, look at what they did. he dies in the Flashpoint paradox. Isn't anywhere to be found in New 52. Rebirth comes. I'm back, fuckers.
Yep.
And with Rebirth, I can get Rorschach and Batman, a dream team that I've been waiting so long. We also talk about how the creator of both The Killing Joke and The Watchmen hates his own creations.
Of course he does. I mean, it's like Tim Curry with Rocky Horror Picture Show. He doesn't like talking about it. He doesn't want that to be his defining role, which is fine. It's a good role, but it was also one of his first roles. You know, he's done so much. He's been one of the most prolific actors since 1970.
He was originally supposed to be the Joker, and I've heard the voice recording. It's not good.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'm happy that time changed. I mean,
Mark Hamill does a really good Joker.
He was kind of doing the Jack Nicholson thing.
Yeah.
And Jack Nicholson,
Tommy Lee Jones wanted to be the Joker, but Jack Nicholson got it instead. And so when they got him to play Two-Face, he was so pissed off that he played Two-Face as though he were the Joker, because that's the role he wanted to play. Mm-hmm.
Tommy Jones doesn't need to be anyone other than Cable. He'd be a good Cable.
I think Tommy Lee Jones would have been a good Joker. He'd have been better than Nicholson, I think.
I like Nicholson. Nicholson did a damn good
Nicholson
job.
Is excellent as the Joker. Don't get me wrong. He did a marvelous job, but I honestly think Tommy Lee Jones would have been at least as good.
Tommy Lee Jones, at that time, the only person I could have cast him as is like a Jonah Hex or Cable.
He would be a great Jonah Hex.
Yeah, he's got I already got the Texas draw down.
Yeah.
Tommy Jones, don't get me wrong, don't mistake my apprehension of that. Tommy Jones is my favorite actor.
Yeah, I like the guy that they got to play Jonah Hex
for Josh Brolin?
Yeah, for
the movie or the show?
Both. I like both those guys.
Josh Brolin he's playing Cable.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah,
he's playing Cable. And he's Thanos.
Yeah, that's gonna be a really good.
Josh Brolin, man, I can't wait.
He does everything. He's a great guy.
You know what really makes me mad about the Deadpool movies, though?
What?
It's more like anger towards Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman said the only way he'd come back playing Wolverine isn't through Deadpool. I want a fucking Deadpool and Wolverine. But it's if he gets the Avengers job. If he can, somehow they can write him into the Avengers to come back.
They totally could. They could do it. He could come.
We have the Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
They could. And they got Deadpool. Guess what? Deadpool gets the Continuity Stone. That's how you write him in. If Fox would
they don't even
take their head out
they don't even have
ass.
to do that. I mean, Infinity Wars is a lot like the DC one. What's the DC one? I can't remember right now. But that.
Oh God! If you hadn't said anything, I would have said it.
But they can just do what DC
Infinite
does.
Crisis.
Yes, Infinite Crisis. Crisis on Infinite Earth. Yeah. They just do what DC does. Pull them out of one of the other Marvel universes and stick them into that one. I mean, that's how they did Supergirl. I mean, she moved networks, and they were like, "Oh shit, how are we gonna write Supergirl into this?" Well, let's put her on Earth 19 and
break more dimensions and time.
Yeah, and we'll just have Cisco make a machine that lets her come over to our Earth whenever she wants to.
Yeah, it's easy to write this stuff.
Yeah, so all you really got to do. Hell, they have a great way to do it. They got Adam Warlock showing up.
He's not going to be in Infinity Wars.
He's not?
No.
That sucks.
He was like the
main guy.
Parts of Infinity Wars, and they're going to completely. That's the thing. Kevin Feige is underutilizing these great storylines. I think he's done a great job with what he's done.
I didn't like what he did with Ego.
Huh?
I didn't like what he did with Ego. He had such an opportunity.
I'm fine with it. I couldn't give two shits about Ego.
I mean, let's be honest about two things here. A, casting anyone other than who they cast would have been the worst move ever.
Kurt Russell did a really good job.
Kurt Russell is the only person you can cast for a movie like that. And two, while they named him Celestial and made him that way, they could have left him as a planet, just the planet, and it would have been fine. But the battle inside Ego one of the best cinematographic experiences ever.
I'll be honest with you. I was worried about like the whole thing. I heard that cast Kurt Russell's ego. I was like,
Kurt Russell was a great
he
ego.
was.
I'm never
that was the
worried.
thing. I was like, that was when I realized, you know what? Let Kevin do his thing. Kevin Feige hasn't let me down yet, and boy, did it top the first one.
When they cast Kurt Russell in anything, my first reaction is, okay, this is going to be fucking hilarious.
It was so good.
Kurt Russell is. I am never scared about what a movie's going to be like if Kurt Russell is in it. Kurt Russell is a wonderful actor.
I wouldn't say it was scared. It was more apprehensive.
Yeah.
You got a couple other people.
Well, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy Escape from Ego was great. That's a Kurt Russell joke if you guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So
he did really good in Escape from LA. I watched that recently.
Have you seen Escape from New York? Yeah. The movie that I love him the best in though is Big Trouble in Little Chinatown.
That's such a good movie.
It's such a good movie.
It's such Austin over there is agreeing with us. We're gonna have you on one day, Austin. I want you to be a part of the fun one day.
Oh, you're gonna definitely enjoy it. We have definitely drug on. We are at the 1 hour and 16-minute mark.
So we're gonna go ahead and close this out.
Yep.
And as always, have a great day. Let us know what you're thinking in the comment section of the video, and just enjoy your day. Have fun, guys.
And as soon as the website and the app is ready, we're gonna have those links up for you guys, so that you will be able to interact with us on a much easier basis.
Heck yeah.
So enjoy your day, and